They said Gray paved the way, changed the rain, released the pain, leaves you sane, getting paid, trend setting, brighter days, doper rap, tighter sets, high and deadly, I'm a fighter jet, journey.
What's good, everyone? Another edition of the Major League Pod. Rob Kammer of the MLW Confusion Podcast. With me is the Merchant of Mirth, Muffins Martinez. We got a lot to talk about, man. One Shot was last night, or at least last night at the time of this recording, and yes. I'm not gonna lie, like, just in my heart, this was the show that made me the happiest of all of them, and we'll talk about why here in a bit. But I thought it was a really good show. They jumped right in with the lucha. MLW Middleweight Championship and the CMML National Historic Welterweight Championship was on the line as Rocky Romero, Azucar with Jesus Rodriguez, Salina de la Renta takes on Mascara Dorada. I was going to ask what you think of it, but you're taking a drink, so I'll jump in. I'll start the party. Like a really good match, solid opener to get things going. My one real complaint on it, just in general, is that I felt it needed more time to kind of stew and tell the story to it. It just felt a little bit rushed, especially how the ending went down, where here's Ichiban. Runs off Salina de la Renta, and then match is over anyway. So, meh. I almost didn't see the need for Ichiban to run down outside just to continue that feud. But that's really my only complaint about the match whatsoever.
I mean, I love the match. I was surprised it was the first match of the night. I was hoping it was going to be the hardcore match, whatever, the hardcore match. I thought that should have been first. I was like, man, this sucks. But I understand you want to start the show off on a fast pace. This was a fast-paced match. The reasoning for Ichiban coming out chasing Salina and Jesus made no issue. I mean, there was no reason for that. I didn't see what the point was. And only to have the same crappy finish about, remove the person's mask thing. I'm getting tired of that because we've seen that so many times in some other companies, like around the same time. WWE, AEW doing the same thing, ripping the guy's mask just so the heel could get the victory. I think that was a crappy decision to end it that way instead of having a clean, decisive ending. But at least this way, the feud continues, and hopefully, if it does happen when they wrestle again for the titles and Mascara Dorada actually beats them for the belt, we get to see that match in its entirety from CMLL show, or they give the match on MLW as a feature match or whatever. But because I'm getting tired of this guys coming in and either losing or winning, and then you don't see the rematch of the match anywhere else after that. So
right.
Well, it did its job. I mean, it got me going. It got me excited. It got my blood pumping. I said, all right, good opening to the show. Last night was an important show. It's the last show of the year, so I was here, just praying to everything that the show goes smoothly and nothing bad happens. So it started good.
Yeah. So no qualms with this match. And really, when you talked about kind of how you wanted the match placement, going over the card, on my sheet of paper over here, really, almost a handful of the matches really could have made sense going on first in terms of, heating up the crowd quite well. But yeah, so I thought it was good and did what it really kind of needed to do. I do kind of agree with the whole mask bit, especially and this is me overthinking things because this is what I do, being a nerd and whatnot. And since I uttered the word nerd, we're gonna break out the hat early for this. I question, one of my questions is, was this a Lucha Rules match? Because they did a half a ref bump before they did the mask thing, and in America, you could the mask is not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. But of course, in Lucha Libre, the removal of the mask is a DQ. And I don't remember if they called this match a Lucha Rules match or not. But then again, on the flip side of it all, like most MLW matches right now are no DQ anyway, so I don't see the point of it whatsoever, especially since like we didn't get any missed pinfalls or anything of the like. But I don't know, that complaint almost didn't warrant the dome, but whatever. It's got to make one appearance. Who knows when I'm going to drop another bout of knowledge on you. But moving along from that, next match is for the TJPW Princess Championship as Miyu Yamashita defends against Delmi Exo.
Yes, love this match. I go into this match when first it wasn't supposed to be for the title, and then Delmi kept saying it should be, and then it turned out to be for the title. And then, of course, me who watches wrestling of every continent in any language, I'm thinking to myself, well, damn, you think Delmi Exo is going to be her for the title when Max the Impaler from N.W.A. just defeated their other champion, the Pretty Title or whatever, just a couple of weeks ago? So I'm thinking, are they going to lose two titles to two American wrestlers for two different companies? So I'm like, I don't think Delmi is going to win this match. But I thought this match was awesome. It was good. I thought it started slow, and then it gradually built up. And I didn't think, I kept thinking like, damn, there is a height disparity between both wrestlers. So I kept thinking to myself, is she ever going to be able to get that kicks high enough to hit Delmi?
Oh, she did though.
Yeah, she actually did that. I'm like, okay, that was like my biggest question. Like, okay, is she gonna be able to get those kicks high enough? And yeah, she got them high enough, especially on the reverse kick, and got her right flush in the face. I was like, yeah, she got that kick all the way in. So I actually love this match. I mean, it sucks that now Delmi is 0-2 in back-to-back title fight. Last month she lost her belt. This month she lost a rematch for a different belt. So I don't know if this is signs of things to come that she might be leaving, because I don't like when people, especially someone that has been holding the belt for a couple of months, loses two title matches back to back. So we'll see what happens in January. But I love the match, and like I said, 2-0 for MLW on matches so far. Two great matches back to back.
Oh yeah. This was a great match. My complaints with it are strictly booking ish, and just because, as you put it, like I'm not a fan of the champ go not necessarily going over, because like considering, and especially she had to lose the so she lost the title, and then they're bringing in someone special for this event, and because they're bringing in a name, they usually end up putting the name over in one way, shape, or form. My big complaint though about it is just like how Delmi's lost both these matches. Like she has been like in kayfabe, like physically outmatched each time. Yes. Like they were almost like long drawn out squash matches almost, where basically Delmi is taking all the offense, maybe gets like one or two hope spots, and then loses anyway. And like so that upsets me more than the having that loss, because at least if it was like a strong competitive match, you could be like, well, she was this close. Maybe next time, if she just digs deeper or trains a little bit harder, watches that much more tape, she could have it. Where like the last two matches, she spent, 10 minutes getting kicked, did a couple of big spots, gets kicked again, and then, whatever the finish happens to be, whether it's the demon clutch or in this case, a gnarly roundhouse kick, which, I mean, Yamashita's kicks are just effing gnarly anyway. So at a certain level, the surviving more than one, is a feather in the cap, because they hurt me. And, I'm just a dude watching TV.
She got the shorter the stick in this one, because she's facing two back kickers that will kick your brain right out. And I'm like, damn, man, this is, it's actually not fair. After a while, you're facing two different strike kickers, and those kids got it. They got hurt after a while, man.
Yeah. And actually, I thought once again, like there's not enough talk about how Joe Dombrowski specifically is excellent at his job, because he did reference the rib kicks from when she lost to Janai Kai as well. So him adding that little bit of continuity did make things matter a wee bit more, made things make a little bit more sense. But Joe's almost criminally underrated, I think, at least in terms of the general wrestling audience. But yeah, that being said, like match itself, excellent, no complaints on it. Yamashita came in to add a bolster to the MLW roster, even if this is going to be a glorified exhibition match, whether she comes back or not. That's something to be seen or not. And of course, Delmi's been putting in good work for the promotion and carried the featherweight championship up high up until she
hopefully they'll send someone from here, from MLW to TJPW in the future. Since we have somebody here, send Delmi or send Janai Kai, stuff like that, and go there and for at least one show, because I know I saw that starting in January. I guess they're gonna have their shows now being live broadcasts on one of those wrestling companies, streaming things. Yeah, I forgot, and I saw it, and I forgot who it was starting in January. But yeah, they're gonna have their shows now, their monthly shows being streamed here. So I said, okay, cool, that's awesome. I gotta find out who it was because I forgot, but I gotta write it down so I could watch those shows now.
Right. Well, and the beauty of the age we live in. Now we just got to remember where we got, because each place is either part of a conglomerate or they have their own like separate streaming service, or you could be like TNA now joining the Endeavor group. Of course, they're still technically getting their own streaming service out of the deal. It's just being through Endeavor or whatever.
Getting updated from that crappy Impact Plus. That thing was trash. That whole service. I mean, I remember when I bought it, and I gave up on it after 2 months because it was crap. So now, being rebranded and now being pushed by a real place, people will know. And now for $9.99, and then they'll give you 4 of their main shows. It's the same way how Fight TV started doing their N.W.A stuff last year. For $50, you got all the weekly shows plus the 4 main shows for the year, before they jumped out of there, and now they're with CW. So we got to see how CW handles that going forward. So
right, and I have no clue what their app's like. So
I haven't tried.
We'll find out here.
I've done the CW app, because I remember watching the Winchester show.
That was Supernatural.
Yeah, the Winchesters, when they came out last year, the only season already got canceled. They were supposed to be their parents, back in the 70s, and already got canceled for one season. CW, but it's a free thing, but the thing that sucks is they give you channels in between, so in the commercials they give you channels, and it just kind of drags. Like, come on, dude, like enough. So I don't know if that's what they're doing also with the wrestling, if they put their own commercials in between, but the app works fine. I mean, it works perfectly. There's no issues with the app.
Well, that's the biggest thing. Like ads are just going to be an issue everywhere, even here on YouTube. So
exactly. If you pay, if they have like a paying service for $5.99 or something, which they don't, that'll be a different story. But CW doesn't have that yet, so I don't know if they will do that in the future. But we gotta see what happens.
Right. All right. Getting back to One Shot though. Making sure I didn't miss something in between. Next match was Tom Lawler versus Satoshi Kojima.
Your two boys.
This one made my heart happy because I am a proud member of Bread Club, and I also love Filthy Tom Lawler. So you put those two things together and magic happens. And that being said, it was a great match just in general as well. So like, even though, I'm sitting here just beaming with two of my favorites on screen, like it was a great match to boot, because Kojima is still putting on bangers despite being in his mid-50s, being a member of the NWO Japan Like, that's how long he's been wrestling,
Yes.
and all the accolades he's picked up while working the variations of the strong style. And obviously Lawler is in his prime. He's killing it in whatever style you want him to go with, and by proxy doing some work for New Japan here in the States as well. But yeah, I was surprised Kojima picked up the win. I kind of figured they would give it to Lawler.
I was thinking the same thing too.
Partially just because Kojima's a guy that he can lose and it's not going to hurt him. Like, he doesn't necessarily need the victory, especially if he's not going to stick around. Which, I mean, he may, I don't know, but I have a feeling he's not. This was a 1, maybe 2 off, and he's done. So I figured Lawler would pick up the victory on here. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lawler can lose too. It's not that big of a deal overall. I just figured, given that this is a WTF promotions show, that, you know, the WTF would have a little bit stronger showing, at least in the win column. But didn't start off well with Lawler taking the pinfall on there. But great match. I did laugh at a handful of times, starting off with people throwing bread in the ring. People threw bread in the ring. It was just the one to start out with. Then after Kojima's victory, it rained bread, carbs everywhere. It was great. The other thing it got me, and this was just out of nowhere, is the crowd was chanting for Kojima, and he started bouncing his pecs to the cadence of the chanting, and that one popped me too, just because that was kind of stupid it was. But otherwise, yeah, hard fought match. Kojima picks up the victory, though it took 2 lariats to put Lawler down too. So it wasn't like he went down easy or anything like that. It was a fight, and Lawler controlled most of the match.
Oh God, yes,
as well.
Very competitive match,
but very competitive, and it took everybody's big moves just to end the match.
I love this match. It's amazing how United States 50-year-old wrestlers compared to 50-year-old Japanese wrestlers. Like you said, Kojima's over 50, Missouri Tanuki over 50, and some of those guys, but they don't look over 50. They still look and they still go hard. And what I loved about this match was the ending, when the whole bread thing scene and everybody's throwing bread and he's picking bread up. And I'm surprised he actually started eating some of the bread. You don't know what the hell that bread is.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what the wife said, too. She's like, I'm drawing the line on that. Like, why would you do that?
Come on, brother.
Like, who knows what was on that mat?
But the one thing that I loved the most was when he picked up the mic and spoke, and you could see his sincerity of being here in the United States and wrestling in front of a United States crowd, being at MLW. You could feel that sincerity and how he loved the crowd and how he felt love from the crowd. Like, you could see the genuine emotions in him feeling that love. And it shows the difference when MLW gets out of Philly. And this was in New York. But the crowd was more lit. It was sold out. I mean, you could see the place was like pumping last night. And that's how the shows are supposed to be. And I'm kind of upset that they'll go back for the next 2 shows, January, February, back to Philly. And I'm like, my God, just leave Philly already. Leave Philly. The only time you should go back to Philly should be in April for WrestleMania weekend, because it's going to be in Philly. Do something there in CW Arena with somebody else. Do some kind of cross-promotion thing, and then get the hell out and don't come back here again to upstate till 2025. Stay out. Go other places, man. Go to Dallas. Go to Chicago, where you used to have, get out. But you could feel the fans last night, man. And I love his little interaction last night. I was like, see, now that's what I love to see. Someone who's very appreciative, and the fans love him. Yeah. And the whole scene with the bread, I'm like, dude, don't eat the bread. I love bread too, but I don't know what that bread's been at, bro. Like, really, shit.
Bread's his gimmick now. He's kind of he's taken a different route than, say, Suzuki, who will still kill you, but he does some goofy things. And Kojima's goofy thing is the whole bread thing. He's the leader of the bread club, even though we all are bread club. But yeah, no, he's got history with MLW. Like, the MLW is pretty much his biggest success in America. I mean, obviously, he's a verified legend in Japan, but MLW is where he cut his teeth in the United States. So I think he holds up
the first time.
Yeah,
But
he was, I believe, the first MLW,
he also
or
had three.
technically the second, because Shane Douglas threw that title down too.
Yeah,
Because,
yes.
Shane Douglas is incapable of a storyline or not incapable of not burning a bridge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in terms of proper lineage, Kojima's, I believe, the first MLW champion.
So it's been exactly 20 years because that was back in 2003. So
yeah, so he remembers, and obviously, the fans were very appreciative of the work he put into both back then and now as well. But yeah, so yeah, I love the match. It made my heart happy just to be able to watch that match and just.
Yeah, I was thinking about you. I said, Rob must be in heaven right now.
Oh yeah, I just smiled the entire time.
Yeah.
Just the perfect storm of all the stuff.
But both of his favorites in one match.
Yeah. Following this, we get a little brief interlude. We got the Body by Saint Laurent bodybuilding contest. I was okay that this happened, because really this was the only time they really did full on shtick during the entire program. And I figured with it being WTF, I thought there was going to be a lot more shtick involved with the program in general. So like I'm okay. Like, yeah, they had some good moments here and there, but like this was like the only like full on like thing I would call a sketch. And
this actually went better than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah. See, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they brought out Midas Black, who, I mean, he's shredded, but he's not a big dude.
Yes, I agree.
And then when I heard the Bomaye music, I thought it was going to be Jay Bougie. Because I figured they were just going to do like a bunch of small guys, like it was going to be a total farce. And they brought out Mr. Thomas, who is jacked to the gills, obviously. So I was kind of surprised on that. And then, of course, the final competitor, the ringer, of course, of WTF, is Alex Hammerstone. And I call him the ringer because he has actual bodybuilding competition experience. Like that, that is one of his hobbies outside of the realm of professional wrestling is professional bodybuilding.
And you could tell by his body, the definitions, that he's definitely a bodybuilder enthusiast.
Yeah,
I competed in those.
Yeah, so I approve. Like it wasn't one of those things where like, oh, they had to cheat to give Hammer yes, they did technically cheat to give Hammer the win, because it wasn't any doubt, but like there's plausible deniability really of it, because he's a bodybuilder.
And they brought in Seda into the whole segment. That kind of made it more for me, because they actually put somebody else who's a featherweight inside that segment. So I'm thinking, okay, they're trying to give a rub to somebody younger into the mix. So I actually enjoy that even better.
Yeah. Now, so I had no problems with it, especially because they kind of kept it there. Like they did like make some other references throughout the show that was kind of shticky, but like overall, like that was about the only like full on shtick we had.
And then Fatu came out.
Yes, because
so
Hammer gave his speech, invoked the name of Jacob Fatu, and we come out and has brawl for that. So that
was kind of cool to end that little segment, and it also will put some weight into their rematch, their third match coming up. That was going to be for the tapings, so that kind of makes sense to kind of keep going with that. And this probably being Hammerstone's last appearance coming up in MLW, because I know I just saw that his contract expires at the end of this year. So January 1st, he's a free agent. So I guess he did what he was supposed to do for the last couple of weeks.
So well, best of luck to him. Which I think the free agency makes it interesting, considering the surprise at the end of the night, which we'll get to.
Yes,
but we'll touch on that. We got a couple matches before we get to that. Three more. So of course, the next match is for the National Openweight Championship. The match that I probably should have been in instead of Jimmy Lloyd, because he only has one more win in MLW than I do. But Jimmy Lloyd taking on Ricky Shane Page. Actually, for what it was going to be, like I was actually impressed how much I didn't hate it. Like it wasn't like a great match, but it wasn't horrible. Like they kept it pretty short, pretty sweet. My only complaint is that they had Akira come in and attack Ricky Shane Page before the match started, and he was a gas mask goon, and then like it really didn't matter. It didn't play into the finish at all. It's just he came up, messed up Ricochet Page, and then Jimmy Lloyd loses the match. So like,
I would have enjoyed it if he would have came in to help him and then turned on him and help Jimmy Lloyd win the belt. Then yes, I would like that better. But yeah, it was still kind of cool at the beginning, and then I kind of dozed off for a while. Did my bathroom break, came back, and then watched whatever was left. And like you said, it wasn't. I don't care for it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So
right,
I was just glad it was over, and I'm thinking this should have been the first or second match, not this late into the show. But yeah, it is what it is.
So yeah, and because like as you put it, this was your bathroom break match, I would have put it on like right before the main event, and that as the way to come down off of everything and cool off the crowd a little bit, so they weren't so wouldn't potentially be so hyped going through everything. But as I said, like really the way the card was set up and how solid it was, like you could mix and match everywhere and everything would still like make sense in terms of its flow. But yeah, it was short, it's sweet, it told the purpose. As I said multiple times, I'm not high on the fact that Jimmy Lloyd got a title shot despite having no success. No wins in MLW, and had already lost a title opportunity as well. And so he's not like Delmy Exo, who held a division by herself. So she kind of like, despite not having the best record as of late, like should still be in the talking. Like Lloyd got it because he was feuding. He was feuding with the Calling, but really had no success in MLW. So like again, using that logic, I don't have any wins in MLW. I'm feuding with someone in MLW. Do I get a title shot?
Yeah, exactly. You deserve one because you're actually feuding with the one Commanders. So
I could probably find somebody to tag with me.
Exactly.
They'll turn on me because I'm insufferable. But,
at least you should get a tag title, Matt. You and Chef, or you are Beans from San Antonio. You should get a match.
There you go. Hey, Court, or MSL. I know one of you guys like check this out.
Yeah,
I need a title shot, man.
Exactly. Send your videos of you and Manders and demand a title shot. And if they don't give it to you, then you become Good Brother number 4 with a mask.
There we go. I have a box of lucha masks.
Okay.
I can be a good brother.
Yeah, you should be luchador numero 4. Is your name.
Anywho, but yeah. So I mean, the match was okay. Like joking aside, the match was all right. There were really like no big issues. It did what it needed to do. Ricochet Page retains. I am kind of curious to see where we're going to continue to go with the Akira calling thing and just the open weight division. So is that where they're going to push kind of Akira from here on, or are they going to kind of keep him with the middleweights? I'm curious to see where that goes, though. But only one way to find out, and that's to keep watching.
Yes, keep watching.
But yeah, so moving on from there, going to stand for this one as well. Maki Ito, Janai Kai with Salina de la Renta for the Featherweight Championship. What'd you think, Muffins?
Oh man, the cutest in the world versus the Kick Demon. I love Maki Ito. I'm so happy they let her do her intro song, even though it went over because then she just sat in the corner when the song was still playing and she was just laying in the corner. I'm thinking, well, shit, pick up the mic and keep singing. Yeah. So, yeah, but the match was everything that I wanted to see. A lot of kicks, and more kicks. A lot of good wrestling, a lot of good kicks, a lot of everything. Makito did her stitch. I mean, it was more than I wanted, and I was happy that it was like the co-main event or the lead up to the main event. So I was happy. Janai Kai came in and won. MLW did a tremendous job bringing in other different Japanese wrestlers because that was 3 last night. 2 females and 1 guy in one show. I mean, that was more than anybody deserves. So anybody who was there got some good merchandise and some good photos for all those guys here. But yeah, Maki Ito did her shit. Janai Kai did her shit. Everybody is sold. Everybody did the thing. The featherweight division got another blue check mark last night. That was 4 out of 5 matches that were excellent last night. and I'm looking forward to the featherweight division in 2024. And who else can they bring from Japan, or hopefully this time, coming from Mexico, from CMLL? They have so many females there, and they haven't touched that yet. There's been the same dude now for the last 2 tapings or whatever, 2 shows. So I would like a female CMML representative for the next show. Make it a triple threat shot. I don't give a shit. Bring us Stefan Baker. She's the champion there. There's a bunch of ladies there. Bring somebody in. We already got the guys. Bring some of the girls, some of the females in, man. Come on now.
Right. Yeah, no, I can't add too much to what you said, because I thoroughly enjoy the match, because basically everyone got their stuff in. Maki Ito got to be the cutest wrestler in the world. Kai got to be the kick demon. Salina got involved. Really, like, if I'm going to make a singular complaint, and this is just more to be fair, since I ragged on Jimmy Lloyd so much, what has Maki Ito done to earn a title shot? There, I said it. Moving on with it. Not going to dwell on it again. Just mostly because I'm not going to lie, I'm biased. I am a stand for Maki Ito, so like she's not going to do.
Didn't she have a title shot 2 months ago against Delmi, right?
No, she faced Becca.
Becca. Okay. Yes.
It was the pretend sing off, we'll call it.
Yes.
Even though it wasn't a proper sing off, but it was what should have been a concert.
What should have been the thing of never happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was mad about that. I was definitely upset about that.
You were. He was too. That popped up in the chat.
Dude, that should have been MLW's brightest moment, was to have a singer between Becca and Maki Ito, and they missed the bus, bro. That should have happened. That would have been. They could have made a gif of that night out of wrestling right there, bro. But they missed that up.
And for you guys watching, he's serious. Like, he blew up our MLW group chat with what? Only one of them's going to sing. What is this?
Yeah,
it was great. It was a great match. It served its purpose. Once again, like everything else, served its purpose. Was entertaining. We love Maki Ito here. At least
we love Maki Ito, man. You cannot take the joy of Maki Ito away from the fans. Exactly. We need to hear Maki Ito sing. That's what we're here for. We're here to watch, to make, to see that she's cute. We're here to watch her sing. We're here to watch her perform. If we don't see all 3 of those things, it's a wasted night.
Well, you know what I would like to see, and this is not going to happen, and I don't think I think I'm going to be the only one in this group that wants to see it. But I since Cardona and Steph DeLander are the company, I want to see them bring in Nick Gage, and so we can have Cardona and Steph DeLander take on Maki Death Kill, and Magic. Take all my money for that.
God no.
Because I mean, they've already been feuding on other indies.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm the only one that's gonna like it, because I'm the only one that likes that sort of stuff.
Only if it's the only match only if it's the only that type of match, just one, and it's like somewhere in the middle, not nowhere towards the end, and not the main event, because I'll be upset. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, those type of matches I'm not into. And if I see an exploding light bulb, I'm walking right out. I'm trying to show off. I'm walking right out.
There we go. Speaking of main events, it is time for the main event. Matt Cardona challenges for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship against Bomaye, Alex Kane. And before I let you take over and talk about this, I'm just going to point out, my screen right here, where I was all in, thought Cardona was going to take it home, and nope. Our boy Alex Kane retains. Don't get me wrong, I am not upset by this, but I totally thought Cardona was going to take it, just because it's Matt Cardona, the biggest name in MLW. To be realistic, like it wouldn't be out of place to have the championship, but he didn't. So Crow is all of mine. Here's my fancy Crow juice.
All I know is this: the match delivered more than I thought it was going to deliver. I mean, to have Bomaye come out with Alex Kane, that whole movement, You have that whole like there's 20 people on the stage still, like almost like mid-match. They were still there chanting Bomaye. I mean, that was like a whole movement, man. That whole Bomaye is a whole movement. It brings a different aspect to the wrestling when you have something like that, man. I thought it added more to the match. I felt good. I felt the energy. I mean, the whole Bomaye thing. And to be honest, man, they try every cheating aspect to get this win, and I thought it was going to happen. I thought Cardona was going to win that match. Every single time they pull something out, I thought that was going to be. And like you said, when you mentioned earlier, like it seems like every match in MLW said no DQ. How can you have Steph Delander get in the ring with a chair, but the ref is still not disqualifying her or throwing her out of the ring? 1, 2, she pulls them out of the ring, stop the count. That right there, you gotta go.
Yeah, and he let her still hang out ringside too. Like there's the secondary thing. Like, okay, if you're not gonna call it a DQ, then you need to boot her.
Exactly. You let her bring a chair in. The chair is being used. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I guess the match said no DQ because Steph Delander's still in the ring, hitting people with chairs and doing all this stuff. And then you have your cousin there, good brother number 3 comes out and gives her a big ass kiss or whatever. And
just runs off.
And Kane destroys her with a move. I'm thinking right there, okay, now Kane is screwed. Kane's gonna lose. No, kicked out. Oh shit! Yeah. What is going on here? I can't believe it. I mean, there were like 3 different distractions, 3 different ways for him to lose this match, and he kicked out in every single way possible. I'm thinking to myself, oh, is Kane gonna be the champion going on? So the 1, 2, 3 happened. Kane wins. I'm happy, but at the same time, I'm shocked because Kane won. And the thing is, I am not a Mike Cardona fan at all. I don't like Mike Cardona. I don't like the shit that he did. But I will give it to him. He came in. They brought him in for one purpose. He did that purpose. He came in. He brought eyes to the company since July, August when he came in. They built them up. He kept winning. He kept, doing what he was supposed to do. He did his job. He did this. He elevated everybody else around him and elevated King. And in this match, when the whole Bomaye club came out and they just dragged them out like their body, like a sacrifice, out of the ring.
I did like that touch.
That was kind of fitting that was his end. And we won't see him again because I guess his 6-month contract is up or whatever. That was fitting. If I don't see him again, that was a perfect way to end it. But I will come in here and I will give him his prop. I'll give him his flowers. The man can work. I'm not going to take that away from him. The man can work. The man did his job. He put over the company for the last 6 months. He was, like you said, the biggest name they had in a long time. The biggest free agent they had in a long time with some kind of name value being there. And he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. He had his match with Kane, and now Kane has gone on 6 months as being the champion. Every match Kane has been better and better and better and better. This match has solidified the last half year of Kane being the champion. And if anybody had any disputes of him being the champion, those were answered last night with Cardona doing what he did. Kane is going into the championship January 24th, the new year, as MLW champion for the last 6 months. And he has had a strong title reign. I mean, your boy Tom Lawler, Jacob Fatu, I can't remember, Willie Mack. We got Willie Mack. Last night was Cardona. So the last couple, every match, every week has been him leading the charge. And I will give his flowers. I'm here. Mike Cardona, here are your flowers. Brother, you did your shit. I'm still not a fan of yours, but I will definitely respect you 100,000%. Wherever you go, you do your shit. You bring people in. You bring eyes in. People come in. I mean, there's always eyes on him when he goes in. N.W.A, Impact, AEW, MLW. I mean, he might wind up back in WWE in someday because of everything that he's being done out here. Now that Uncle Vince is out, Triple H is seeing different things, different people coming in. A lot of people are coming in. A lot of people are going to come back. I wouldn't be crazy enough not to see Cardona be back there again soon. So
right, yeah,
he's earned it. So
yeah.
He's earned it.
Yeah, and he totally reinvented himself after he got fired.
Yes.
And he's one of those guys everyone just kind of made he got over, but everyone kind of made fun of him because he was a character, really not a wrestler, and he's still more of a character than he is a wrestler, but he knows what works for him.
Yes.
And he executes it, and he doesn't half-ass it. That's the thing, especially with this MLW run. He could just coast in, just kind of by the nature of where MLW is in the wrestling landscape. He just could have come in, had a handful of matches, and walked off with however much he was probably overpaid for that. But no, he put over the company. He totally acted like MSL was his best friend. He sold that. He sold the WTF faction. Yes, he was undefeated until this match with Kane, but he ate so much shit in the process. He had his car stolen. He got beat up while his manager got his toe bit and probably is dying from tetanus as we speak. He and then even in his lesser matches, he had a decent match with Manders. That he didn't have to do that, and let alone he didn't have to make it competitive either. He could have just come in and said well, I'm just going to squash one of your guys, and they probably wouldn't have given him Manders for that, but he could have just squashed someone and went on their way, or demanded the title, or anything like that. And he didn't. He even while he won, he put over his opponents, he put over the feuds, he put over the company.
And the crazy thing is, in all those years that I think that he's been doing that, flying back and forth from Japan, being in N.W.A, doing stuff at Impact, I've never heard or seen anywhere or read anywhere that he's been unprofessional, that he's asking for all this money, that he's being a baby, or he's missed this show. I've never heard or seen or read anything on anywhere that he's been, being disloyal, because he's been everywhere. I mean, from Japan back, crazy miles. His air miles got to be crazy by now. And I've never heard not one negative thing about him out there. So, I can't hate on the guy. I mean, the guy's been the hardest worker out here since last year. And if 2023 he's not named the most indie guy out here that's giving back to every company, it should be him. I mean, they should Matt Cardona is this year 2023 indie guy. I mean, this guy's been everywhere this year. N.W.A, MLW, Impact Wrestling in Japan, every little company that you can think of, he's there. With Steph Delander doing his shit. So can't hate on the dude, man.
And it's working. And as you put it too, we gotta give our flowers to Alex Kane, because he's been having bangers, and doing an admirable job of carrying MLW in its stead during a time that we have said in the past, over the last several months, that this was kind of a rebuilding, rebranding time for MLW, and he's held the title up high during this. And he's I can complain about how certain matches didn't feel like big fights, but when it came down to the moment, he made them big fights. I kind of complained about the Willie Mack feud. It didn't do anything to me. He just kind of he came off as just kind of a bully, but and the feud was more one-sided verbal jousting than anything else. But when it came time to ring that bell, he was all in, and it was all in on that. And
then the biggest thing that I noticed is towards the end, Alex Kane gets the mic. He says, "I already beat everybody. Blah, blah, blah. Who's next?" We know Hammerstone is leaving. We know now with how his character knows carry out, he was leaving. But lights goes off, and
almost bigger surprise than Alex Hammerstone last month, the return of Richard Holiday. MLW is rarefied once again.
God,
breathe it in.
Whew.
Smells great.
I popped.
No, popped. It's one of those things I'm old enough and I'm jaded enough that even when I'm really happy with the match, I don't yell out. Like I am not overtly loud and verbal at things. I don't scream at the television or anything like that. But like when the lights went out, I just like I muttered, "They're going to bring in Sabu," because that's what I say every time the lights go out.
Oh,
And
God,
then
please.
and then the lights come on, and I literally exclaimed, "Holy shit, it's
Yes.
Richard Holiday," because
Yes.
of all the people coming back, I didn't see him.
No.
Though I wanted him to come back, but
Oh,
he's been
always.
but he's been killing it on the indies. And I don't know if
Yes.
you've seen it, but some of the stuff he's put up on Twitter lately,
Oh,
some of
yes.
his psychiatrist videos
Yes.
and whatnot,
Yes.
like those have been bloody amazing.
Yes.
Like the dude has been putting in some work, both in the ring and outside the ring. And then of course the news that he's had a WWE tryout as well, so that also, at least in terms of the independents, kind of put his career in jeopardy, air quotes, per se. So like he really wasn't on my radar to pop up for MLW for any length of time. But sure enough, like lights come on, here he is. And yeah, and the crazy thing is he didn't have to say a word. Like he didn't get a word in. Like he kind of like stared down with Kane. MSL comes out to offer him a contract with WTF, and in the process guarantees him the title shot next month. So this way he doesn't have to earn it per se. And without saying a word, he takes the hat, he puts it on, and like that part I have mixed feelings about. But I don't hate it.
Well, and that's where that made sense to me, knowing Hammerstone is gone, seeing how Cardona was taken out. I'm thinking to myself, well, then what's going to happen with WTF? Because now they're going to lose momentum when you have your two biggest guys. One guy who came last month, after he was doing videos on Twitter that he wanted out. He comes back for a month. Cardona's gone, but you still have your boy Lawler. You have that new kid, Jacob Knight, right?
Josh Bishop.
I'm sorry, Jesus. Who the hell is Jacob Knight then? Bishop. I don't even know who the other kid was. I just made that name up. Okay, Josh Knight. So, they look good, but you're missing that big star power of WTF. That right there, when he put the hat on, that right there makes sense to me. And it saves WTF going forward, because now you still have that big name of Richard Holiday there. I mean, and let's talk about it, what Richard Holiday has been going through the last 2 years, from cancer, when he left MLW, and and we've seen a couple of videos out there how he looked after the whole chemotherapy and stuff, and you said like, wow, that's not the Holiday that I seen and fell in love with in the ring. But I'm glad he's alive, and hopefully he'll get there back there. Months later, you see him back in the Indies, and you see him getting his body back, his wrestling body back, and stuff like that. And now, I mean, he's almost been going on I want to say a year and a half now.
Yeah, pretty near. Like I think it was like August of last year, so it might be just like about a year and a half.
A little bit over a year, and now he comes back, and you see him walk in, and you go, "Oh my God, that's Richard Holiday. That's the guy I remember when he started feuding Hammerstone last year." Before they found out the diagnosis, and then for all the shit that we given, and I tweeted this out last night, for all those shit that we've been giving Kurt Bauer and MLW, people leaving, people complaining about their contracts, people not having communication. He hasn't come on any show or anything and bashed anyone. He's just followed the business. In the last month, he's injected youth into the company with a lot of the guys that are coming in. He's rebuilt for the featherweight division again. And now you brought Hammerstone in last month. You clean that up, finish it in good terms. And now you bring back Richard Holiday to end the year. So, I mean, from going dark a couple of months ago and getting bashed on every social media page to finishing this strong in 2024, and then I saw that the commercials about MLW Radio coming back sometime next year. with like backstage stuff, and again, like they used to, baby steps again. It's baby steps in the right direction. So, people gotta, once you hear something, don't go jump into social media. Wait till you hear both sides of the stories. Wait till you see somebody, the talent, or somebody say something. Don't just jump out there and stop believing everything you see or hear. So,
well, and I mean, going into the business chunk of it, we can say what we want about Court, but there's a lot of wrestling promoters who have respect on their name, who are like, in terms of how they deal with their talent, are kind of terrible. Like, just in general, they're terrible people about it. And, but when push comes to shove, when it's time to put on a product, the product is usually pretty darn good. I will throw Gabe Sapolsky under the bus for that one. Like he's well respected in the business, considered a great mind for booking and whatnot. But in terms of how he deals with talent, like, nobody has a good thing to say about him. And so that's kind of like how I view Court. Like, yes, we have these complaints about him, and many of them can be valid. But at the end of the day, like, we can call him Carney, we can call him whatever he wants, or whatever we want to, but he keeps delivering for MLW. Like, yes, there are going to be lulls, but he pushes things back. So yes, this batch of folk are going to be unhappy. Maybe it could have been handled better, but he's got this group who are going to take that opportunity. And again, like, the things to say, like, his contracts are terrible, whatever. But like, the fact of the matter is, he's still delivering regardless of that. Like, but really, like, we can shit on him, but let's be realistic. We say the same about Gabe Sapolsky. Obviously, Vince McMahon has a lot of skeletons in his closet. Triple H, he's one of everyone's favorites right now, but obviously he has some issues, as well in the past. Yeah, Eric Bischoff, in addition to his ego, like, is not the best, not the best dealing with people. He just sounds pretty talking. Tony Khan.
Don't forget DC Carter.
Yeah, so nobody's a saint. Like, yes, we can try to rank them on who's the worst, and like, there's some criteria that's objectively terrible. Yep. But that being said, we're going to pay attention to the in-ring product, because a lot of folks don't care about the other stuff as long as they are not actively physically hurting people.
And last night's show was a good ending to the year for MLW.
Yeah,
they ended the year on a high note.
They've finally, like, after several months of, like, even us complaining about it and how, like, we weren't a fan of how the product is going, the direction they've taken, they seem to have righted the ship within the last, like, I say about 3 months or so. Definitely since Slaughterhouse, like, things have been markedly improving, even on a weekly basis. Like, the big events have been great, but like fusions have been terrible.
Yeah. And the last 2 episodes of Fusion have been good.
Yeah, and Fusion has greatly improved over the last 6 weeks, 2 months or so. So yeah, like, they ended the year on a high note. Richard Holliday's back. I'm curious to see where this is going. We got a batch of young guns ready to prove themselves. Wasted Youth's coming back. I mean, they've been on the roster page, but they are officially coming back. Obviously, like, they haven't touched terribly much on it since it happened, but like, they're looking at Fake Ken and Love Doug. That's a thing going on. Whatever this new grouping with Tony Deppen, TJ Crawford, and Griffin McCoy, whatever's going on with that. Of course, we have the quasi implosion of the calling. I'm interested to see where we're going with Good Brother number 3, and by proxy the rest of the second gear crew as well. There's a lot of things to look forward to this year. And again, say what we want about how certain things have been handled, say what we want how the product was for half the year. Things are looking up, and I as a wrestling fan, I'm excited to see where it goes, because honestly, just big picture, the better wrestling is in general, the better it is for all the wrestling fans. Like, regardless of like how you want to divide yourself up into your tribes, whether you're team WWE, team AEW, team indie that, the better companies do, the better it is for everyone, the workers, the fans, everything. And while focusing on here, MLW's finally looking up after a little bit of a lull.
And I'm team wrestling, so
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I have my favorite. Obviously, we have our favorites. Head's doing an MLW podcast. You got your N.W.A podcast on the side. I do like publicly float around the indies as well. But yeah, so I'm excited.
You'll be there later tonight.
Yep. I haven't promoted it because I'm going to be there as a fan, but I'm going to Dreamwave Wrestling. That's on that'll be on IWTV tonight. They have an all women's show. But I will plug because I'm an official sponsor. But SCW Pro is having seasons beatings. Now I'm bad. It's either I think it's season beatings because I think Violent Night was last week.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm a sponsor and I don't remember it because I'm just like, here, take my money. They just slap my logo on things and like occasionally I get DMs.
The name says season beatings. Yes.
Yeah. Last week was Violent Night because they were in Iowa City. This week they're back at the Bluegrass Community Center. So I'll be there for that. And unfortunately, that's not a big event you can see on IWTV. But they do have a YouTube show that comes out every other week called At Home, where you can also hear my thoughts with my wife. We have a podcast that's behind a paywall, unfortunately, but it's all the more reason to help support the MLW Confusion podcast, to go through the MLW Confusion Patreon. So all those links will be, are all over the internet. But speaking of other plugs, of course, be sure to like this here video or audio podcast, wherever you happen to be getting it, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, etc. So like, subscribe, leave a comment. If there's a notification bell somewhere, ring that darn little bell as hard as you can. Pretend you are Santa Claus on the street. We're getting some money out of the deal. Shake that bell. Follow us on the social medias. Obviously, the main account for the Urban Wrestling program family is Urban Wrestle NW, and that's all over the socials, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube on here or whatnot. I'm at the Nova of Cass on Twitter and most other socials on there, except on Facebook where it's the MLW Confusion, just all one word. But yeah, I think those are all the big plugs, but thank you all. It's great. Muffins is frozen temporarily, so I'm out. There. Okay, he is back. Mostly back. But yeah, so hit us up on the socials. Hit us up. On here, because all the algorithms love it when people interact with us. I've talked too long about things, so we should be moving along. We'll catch you all. Well, this coming week on 10 pounds of pod. That's also a thing I haven't said out loud yet, so that is too. So that's also Muffins' baby, so you should check that out as well. In the meanwhile, we'll catch you all next time. Deuces.